couple of days of thunderstorms and strong winds have passed. We managed to avoid them all here, thankfully. Time to move on to, let's see if I can pronounce this, Imodden? 110 miles down the coast. Going to be a long sail, but it looks like we've got decent wind for it. Currently just gone 11 AM. It's high tide now, so there's enough water for Ian and Andrea to get out on Gabrielle. We'll be in the ebb tide as we go out, so we'll be carried along all the way out to sea, hopefully pretty quickly. Happy to be moving again. That Schengen clock is ticking very, very loud now, so I think it's probably going to be 2 legs. The next leg will be down to Dunkirk, and then from Dunkirk we'll have to see about either checking out and making it to the UK or doing one more hop. All that's to be decided. The imperative today is just to get that 110 miles under the belt. That brings us an awful lot closer to being able to hop across the channel. I think we've got about 14 or 15 days left in the Schengen zone before we have to leave, so should be plenty of time. But there is a big weather system due to come through in about a week's time. It's going to be blowing really strong according to the forecast, potentially 60 knots up the channel, so we just need to make sure we're somewhere sheltered for that, sit that out, and then plan the channel crossing. It's very strange being so close to getting to home. I just called it home. I'm talking about the UK in general. A strange thing to say. Plenty of time for maudlin while I'm sailing. It's time to get going, so anchor up and away. Through the sea lock. That was a bit of drama with a wind on the stern in the lock. Scraped the Starlink antenna. Seems to be working still, fortunately, as we were quite low down in the lock. And now we're cracking along at 8.5 knots, 15 knots of wind, with the help of obviously the ebb tide. Got a bit of a shallow bank about 4 or 5 boat lengths away there. Got to avoid, stick to the channel. Well, Gabrielle attacked. Make sure I avoid them. And avoid that red. All good, going past it. So we're running downwind now, following the channel. There's one red. There's another red just under the sail there. And there's big breaking waves out there. I'm hoping that we don't have to go through anything like that. Fingers crossed. We're keeping a very close eye on the depth here. The channel markers line up with navionics, but according to navionics we're currently in 0 meters of water, and we're in 10, so the channel markers have been moved for the channel. You can see where the shallows are, all the breakers there. Had we been using navionics, we probably would have tried to go straight through that, which is probably where it's 0 meters plus height of tide, which is about 1.5 meters, so there's probably only 1.5 meters of water there, minus the effect of the waves, of course. Call it a meter. But right now, don't know if you can see the red and green channel markers. That's where we're going, following that channel. I'm leading the way. My keel's a lot shorter than Gabrielle's, so if it starts to drop off, I'll warn them. Crossing that bar was genuinely scary. The water got quite shallow, but we stuck to the marked channel and everything was okay. Just really glad we didn't do it yesterday when the waves out here would have been about 3 meters. They're only about a meter or so today. It would have been really scary with 3 meter waves breaking over those banks. I think we probably would have turned around and gone back. But there we go. Going into scary shallow waters on a falling tide. Belting along at 6.5, 7 knots, occasionally 7.5. This is fantastic. Things are getting a little bit more bouncy now as we're losing the protection of land and we're getting bigger and bigger wind waves. The wind has been a right pain in the backside. It's been blowing from 5 knots to 15 knots randomly and veering and backing by about 30 degrees randomly. I've already gone hove to once. The autopilot's in wind vane mode, so it should in theory deal with it, but the wind shifts so quickly sometimes it doesn't get a chance. Gorgeous sail though, gorgeous day. We'll have to see what the night brings. We've got to turn south soon. I think we might end up doing a bit of tacking tonight. At the moment we're heading straight towards the shipping lanes and I'll tack just before I get to them. Or just after, if there's no shipping. Almost 8 hours in, we're passing to Shelling and we're 36.5 nautical miles into the passage. So still a long way to go, an entire night and most of tomorrow I would think. Been absolutely gorgeous, stunning. Now that the wind and the tide are running in the same direction, it's a little bit flatter. It says no pops up and down. Okay, alright, prove me wrong. See if I care. Just waiting for the sun to set. It's been quite a night. We had 20 knots of wind, so reefs in both sails, and it's been bumpy during the night. Been doing quite a bit of bashing through waves. The tide's just about to turn in our favour, which means it'll be against the wind, so I'm expecting the bumpiness to get worse. And we're motor sailing at the moment to try and make a course as southerly as possible, stay away from the shipping lanes, and at some point we'll have to tack and head back in towards land. What a sunrise. Stunning. It's a joy to be out here. I'm a little bit tired. I think I managed to maybe get somewhere between half an hour and an hour's sleep last night in very short bursts. Time for a coffee and some breakfast. 2 miles into the passage. That must mean we're getting close. Probably another 20 miles to go, hopefully. Gonna have to tack at some point and head towards land. Probably soon because we're coming up to some wind farms. "111 miles in, 1 day of sailing." Should arrive hopefully in about 2 or 3 hours at the entrance, and then fingers crossed find a berth. The marina has a lot of box moorings which are free, but I can't go on a box mooring, not solo. Tried once, failed miserably, not doing that again. But the sun's out and I've just seen 2 dolphins. They didn't come and play, they just swam past, but even so, I saw dolphins. That's been such a rare occurrence this year. And there she blows. I'm Odin. And the wind has decided to evaporate pretty much. So the last hour to get here is taking forever. That's where we're going, into the harbour here. Just gonna let this bad boy go ahead of us. Taking it nice and easy. Already got all my lines and fenders set, ready to go alongside. Wind died completely and it was beautiful and flat out here, so there was no point waiting until I got into the shelter of the harbour. Just put the sails down and got on with it all. So that's a night to rest, and it's sunset again and we're off again. Another night sail. I can't remember where we're going. So a night's sleep and sunset and we're off again, off to Stellendam. We need to get down there before Monday, so we're making a dash for it tonight, and we will have to shelter there for a few days, possibly almost a week, maybe even a little longer. There's a number of lows coming through, expecting winds up to 50-60 knots on Wednesday, I think it is. So we'll have to see how that goes, keep an eye on the weather, but that might mean we have to jump from there directly to the UK. It depends how long we're stuck there for, really. Anyway, I need to get the sails up, get sailing. Behave yourself, Genoa. I'm watching you. In fact, I'm recording you, so just behave. You can see Gabrielle through the gap between the sails there. The marina was a bit crap and very, very expensive. Almost 40 euros for the night, and it was filthy and falling apart. So not very impressed. We could have stayed there for the bad weather, but we've decided we'd rather be somewhere else. So we're gonna head down into one of the lakes and go through the lock and into the lake and anchor up in there to see the bad weather through. Not sure how long we'll be there. Have to wait and see what the weather brings. But oh my god, that's glorious. Well, there goes the sun. Make something to eat and settle down for the night, I guess. No idea if you can see anything at all on the camera. I'm hoping you can see a sea of twinkling red lights out there. That's the largest wind farm I think I've ever seen. Passing through a field of ships on anchor. Those lights are exceedingly bright. You'd think that was moving. It's not, it's on anchor. It's me that's blasting along at over 8 knots. Woohoo! Yeah, baby! Too fast. Going to arrive in the middle of the night. Going way too fast. Might change plans and head straight for Dunkirk. That's an option. Although that means spending a week in a marina, which is going to be expensive. Yeah, tough one. Anchoring for free for a week or spending a week in a marina. Yeah. Well, conditions could be better for our entry through the channel to get to the sea lock. It's been blowing pretty strong all night. Been doing 9 knots. Got here way too early. And in these conditions we certainly didn't fancy doing the channel in the dark. So we're here just at first light. And it's lumpy. Here we are at anchor just on the inside of Stellendam. We came through the sea lock to get in here, and as you can see, I've got absolutely bags of room if the anchor does decide to drag at some point. Wind is expected to get up to stupid speeds tomorrow. It's going to be windy all day today as well, and windy the day after, and then we'll have to see what happens. Got a couple of little hops down to Dunkirk, and then from Dunkirk it'll be across the channel to Dover and along the south coast back to Falmouth. after a few nights on anchor and a couple of nights in the marina here nearby to reprovision, fill the water tanks. It's getting close to time to go. I've been here for quite a while, about 5 days, maybe 6. I've lost track. The weather's just been wrong. Winds from the north going out over the shoals and the bank would have been harder than necessary. Wind against tide. The wind's been blowing pretty damn strong as well. Thunderstorms last night. But tomorrow the wind is supposed to turn to the south, so we'll have the wind behind us going with the tide. Should be nice and easy. And then it's quite a long sail, about 90 miles or so down to Dunkirk. We'll have to hug the coast because the winds are going to be up to force 7, so we'll stick close to shore. Fingers crossed we should be there at a reasonable time. Looking forward to getting there. We've got to check out of Schengen in Dunkirk, so we're rapidly running out of Schengen days now, and then the plan is to go from Dunkirk across the channel and into Dover, hopefully just to anchor for the night and then carry on, but we will have to see. It's a bit weird really, talking about being home back in Blighty. Seems like a very long time has passed since I left. Well, I suppose it is, but it feels an awful lot longer to me. Almost feels like years rather than months. It'd be good to see my kids again though. Looking forward to seeing all my kids. Anyway, water tank is filling. Batteries are charging. Solar has not performed particularly well over the last week. It's been cloudy most days, raining a lot, so the batteries have been empty. I've had to even run the engine a couple of times just to top them up to get me through the night. That's one thing I am going to have to replace in the winter, is the batteries. They are completely Donald ducked. I can barely go an entire night with the autopilot and all the instruments switched on. I'm thinking about upgrading and doubling the amount of capacity I've got, because at the moment I'm throwing away a lot of power on a sunny day. I'm just chucking it out the window because I haven't got enough capacity in the batteries to store it all. Lots of work to do this winter. Bottom's got to be done. It's got to be polished and cleaned because she is filthy. She's a dirty girl, dirty Gigi. Checking out in Dunkirk doesn't look like the easiest thing in the world to do. The immigration offices are about 10 miles away from the marina, but we'll see. As it is, I'm a bit behind on the videos. It's been a real chore, to be honest. I've been so tired from the long night sails, the long passages. It's been very difficult to focus on creating a video, especially when I have to really prioritise my work above the videos. So difficult enough to work when you're knackered, and then to carry on and do a video as well. So apologies for the tardiness in releasing videos recently.
I've got an odd sock. Mr. Wilson, I've got an odd sock.